Yo. Aaron. You ready to get dank? Dude? Are you back here? Dude? Whoa! Mr. White! I think we should just start here.
Yeah.
I guess, you know.
Okay.
It seems like there's no real. Never thought of a good intro. It just sort of feels like I don't know. Let's just start mid-sentence.
Okay. Welcome to Dank Ass Stubs, culture, comedy, and commentary, and cobwebs, and crepe Suzettes.
Craig suit?
Craig suits.
It's like a Craig T. Nelson outfit that you like to don.
Yeah, it's just like a big rubber suit that turns you into Craig T. Nelson.
You know, I dress up as Craig T. Nelson and go down to the learning hospital, you know, surprise the kids.
Yeah. Wait, learning hospital?
I'm sure there's a learning hospital somewhere.
Teaching hospital.
A teaching hospital. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry. That's you teach somebody, you don't learn somebody.
Yeah.
That's a vocabulary. I'm gonna take a picture right now of both.
A photograph?
If you guys go on Twitter when this is out, just kind of check out, you know, our little photo here.
Are you gonna look at this photograph?
Yeah, look at this photograph. I saw a thing on the internet once where
No, you didn't.
I did.
That's a flagrant misapprehension of the truth.
Saw a thing. No. Check it out though. There are like 10 things at least on the internet.
What?
Yeah, no, totally. There's this whole ton of shit on the internet, but saw this thing. I don't even remember what I was gonna say, but basically, if you go on the internet, what did you say?
I didn't say anything.
You said some shit.
I would never say a thing.
Well,
I've never said anything in my life.
Well, anyway, it's really pleasant, like just this view right now, just like because we're recording. It's hot in this garage where we're recording right now.
It's hot in the studio.
Yeah, and there's just like a nice view out the window here. So we've got our little fan, we've got our computer set up. We have
mint green houses across the way.
Yeah, you know, they're a nice, you know, metallic mint green, just like in My Cousin Vinny.
I was gonna say,
you know, there's some clouds out. We've got a couple bottles of Downtown Brown. So Lost Coast Brewery, if you're listening, we're
repping you.
We're repping you, and we would love to be sponsored by your fabulous product with this Quentin Tarantino motherfucker on the label.
His face is just misshapen enough, the man on the Downtown Brown bottle, who I assume his name is Downtown Brown.
Yeah, no, that is Downtown Brown.
His face is just misshapen enough to vaguely represent, or vaguely resemble, Tarantino.
Quentin Tarantulino.
Exactly. And what a better segue than to get into the thing that we're talking about.
That was weird. This is like the fastest fucking segue.
Well, yeah, because like you referenced the thing we're going to talk about like within the first 90 seconds.
And that speaks to the real magic of Downtown Brown. Right?
And maybe the real magic of the thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah, but for, I mean... Hey,
Downtown Brown.
Commerce, man. I mean, if you're at your local liquor store or even a grocery store...
I don't know if Downtown Brown is like widely available outside of California.
Whenever I come to one of your birthdays, I pick that shit up at Gelson's.
Yeah, but...
Or Ralph's.
But you buy it at Gelson's and Ralph's in California. Like, Ralph's is not Ralph's outside of California. You get into...
It's Kroger.
Yeah, it's a Kroger store. So once you get out of California, Ralph's becomes Fred Meyer.
For the guy who did all those video games for the PC?
So that's Sid Meier.
Oh, okay.
Sid Meier.
That's fucked up.
No, like I drove up to the state that has Portland in it, whatever it's called.
Oh, Portlandia.
Yeah, I drove up from California to Portlandia, all on my way to Seattle. And once we got over the state line and we were in Scarborough country.
Scarborough country.
Once we were in Portland state country, there were no more Ralphs. It was Fred Meyer.
But are they the same, or is that just what they have instead? Like,
and
because like up in NorCal, they don't have.
In Portland State, you can't pump your own gas. They have to pump it for you. And we were like, oh, what is Fred Meyer? And which is a ridiculous question. I didn't ask it. My traveling companion asked, what is Fred Meyer? Which is like, well, clearly it's the brand of this gas station. Why would you ask such a flagrant question? And the pump man, the pump master, the pump lord.
Pump lord. That sounds like the name of a guy in a porn parody of Mad Max.
The pump lord.
The pump lord.
Or like a guy with a really, really, really pretentious bike shop.
The pump lord. Come on down by 4 cents tires, get a free fill up on air. The pump lord. I have my jewel encrusted pump, and I'm super pumped to pump you up.
Just a really, or like an absolutely fucking absurd self-parroting like personal trainer.
Yeah.
You would see his flyers just like on the corkboard at a coffee shop. The Pump Lord personal training, dietary advice. The Pump Lord at the Fred Meyer gas station was like, oh, it's a Kroger store like Ralph's, like you Californians have.
Oh, so they are the same entity.
Yeah, they are both Kroger stores.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Fred Meyer and Ralph's are both under the Kroger brand banner of brands and banners.
Yeah, it's like Vons and Pavilions all lead back to Safeway, right?
Yeah, Vons and Pavilions all lead back to Kaiser Soze.
Oh, hey, man. He's the one who gets away with... No, that's Rollo Tomasi.
Yeah.
I'm mixing...
Rollo Tomasi.
Yeah, dude. LA Confidential, yeah.
Wait, Rollo Tomasi was in LA Confidential? I thought he was a red herring in The Usual Suspects.
No, Rollo Tomasi... Well...
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Rollo Tomasi...
I was thrown off by Kevin Spacey being in all of them. And then when Rollo Tomasi,
he's
left town to go back to K-Pax...
Yeah, that's exactly what happened there. And then Aaron... Dude, another segue, because you know who's in K-Pax?
Who?
At the very end is Aaron Paul.
He is, that's right. He's Jeff Bridges' son.
Yeah, who we see for, a scene.
A moment.
Just a moment. It's like a wide shot, so there's no actual dialogue.
In what seems to be a train station, the same train station, or whatever station, train zone, that Prot, or... Prot. Yes, Prot. I'm sorry. Much apologies to Prot, wherever you are.
Hey, man, he's on K-Pax. I think he went. I think he was...
Really? I feel like this is one of those things where it's it was purposefully vague, and so it's whenever something is purposefully vague, the world splits in half of people saying, it's definitely this thing, or it's definitely that thing.
No,
the top definitely follows over, the top definitely doesn't fall over. And I'm like, it was supposed to be vague.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, I err more toward that side. I'm not saying,
it is
sure.
It is played kind of wistfully at the end of that movie. It's
so much. It's full of whist.
Oh yeah, it's just all this. It's just leaking out whist. That movie, K-Pax. I still like it. I think, but I haven't seen it in an age. I bet it's like Phone Booth, where it's I really liked it when I saw it, which was in 2002.
No, I was 12.
When I was 12.
Don't even.
Okay, so we're going to do a joke right now where it's become an in-joke with us, but it's based on something of us talking about we once hypothesized what I think we were hypothesizing what would be if the Insane Clown Posse did an ad for educational tapes to teach kids math, and it was yo son, we got all the numbers 14, 11, and 97 and 12.
Don't tell nobody we told y'all about 12.
You best not tell nobody we told y'all about 12. These are very oddly swear-free versions of the ICP boys.
Well, no, we had that growing up though. We had in 2nd or 3rd grade, our teachers would occasionally bring in these. They would make raps out of the times table.
But they're the most dorkiest, non-functioning raps. Remember, the rapping dinosaur that would teach kids to recycle?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love it, though. There's no way to... It's really hard to design educational entertainment properly.
Especially when you try and layer hip-hop into it back when hip-hop was just starting to go mainstream.
Well, yeah, it's teaching anybody anything is hard to begin with, especially if they're children, and then teaching anybody anything and then adding like a music form and a visual representation to that's like whimsical. That's three really hard plates.
You're juggling too many balls. You're spreading yourself too thin.
Too many balls.
You're other analogying yourself.
Yeah, but yeah, we got to K-Pax, and then we got to what was the first segue? We had two segues.
Yeah, we had the K-Pax segue, and then we had Quentin Tarantullino.
We needed a third segue
before. It's like building the Shrine of the Silver Monkey and Legends of the Hidden Temple. You got to put all three parts together to get it to activate.
Which, like, enough kids... I always wondered about that, because, like, enough kids had seen that show. How did... Like, so many times they would get confused and, like, put it together wrong, and I'm like, the head clearly goes on top.
I think well, I mean, if memory serves, it was really bright in the Shrine of the Silver Monkey, so those kids were basically semi-blind.
Oh, okay. Don't blind children for other children's entertainment.
Yeah.
I've never blind a child for that purpose.
Just because you blind somebody doesn't mean they can execute anything. Like, blind executive is not a term that stretches that far.
Yeah.
There was a blind executive gag in one episode.
Oh, shit.
Is that our third segue?
Is that the third segue?
Will we accept it?
We will see if we accept it after a word from our sponsor, Frank S. Tubbs, Flank Ass Rubs. Spices, marinades for your next barbecue. Brought to you by Mr. Tubbs himself.
Mr. Tubbs.
Mr. T.
Yeah. Not the original Mr. T.
Yeah, I know. But he does pity fools who don't use the proper barbecue.
Frank S. Tubbs is a very empathetic man. He feels really bad for people who are foolish.
Yeah, dude. I would too. I mean,
I actually went into his office, and he was looking out of his window crying.
Oh, buddy.
And I said, Frank, what's wrong? And he just sniffed, and he turned to me, and his eyes were red and bloodshot, and he just said, all the fools.
All the fools.
All the fools out there.
Just reminded me of a David Sedaris essay. He's talking about working at Macy's Santaland, and apparently there's this... He describes this man who comes in who's, like, oddly, like, just very excited, but he's, like, older, and he can't really tell where he's from. He just knows he's like, from Eastern Europe or something. Like, he's not from here, and he keeps coming in to sit on Santa's lap throughout the day.
Oh, God.
And at one point, I guess he asks him why, and all the guy does, at least in this retelling, is just go, the toys. All the toys. And it just reminded me of that. Like,
just the... What?
And, like, apparently he had this, like, dent in his forehead or something. Like
2D of the Gorillas?
Oh, yeah. Maybe it was 2D. Hey, the Gorillas are going to record again.
Oh, again?
In November.
Oh, really?
Yeah, November, I think they said, or September, something like that. They're going to go into the studio.
Intraday.
That Damon Albarn, man, that dude just has hella tunes in his mind.
Yeah, and in his brain, and in his heart. Yes.
Oh shit! Picking up tweets. I'm sending a tweet. You know, we gotta do some kind of.
This is what happens when you live tweet real life while recording yourself in the real life while you're live tweeting the real life.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna create this weird rift where it's like if you read the tweets that we're tweeting while we're recording this while you're listening to the replay, then it's technically at the same time, but they're both in the past, but they're also in the present.
You're going to listen to the thing you did to affect how the episode turned out. That you. When and if the future you when you which you want you when you want you wish you want you want you wish you did you want you do so much you could do anything.
Exactly. Has anyone ever thought to look more like?
Has anyone been as far as decided to go want to do even to look more like?
Ah!
I just love it when someone can compose a sentence that makes absolutely no sense.
It's my fave. But speaking of, we need like one of those in-app, like an app where you follow along with a TV show, but for this podcast,
like a second screen experience.
Like a second screen experience, which is our fourth segue.
Yeah,
a little bit of a deeper cut.
Yeah,
but all right, should we go for 5 or just call it 4?
I mean, 4 is like we have extra credit.
We're just edging right now. Yeah, so hard.
Yeah, we're in the red. If any of those segues were not enough, we have like some spillover to take care of a deficiency.
Yeah, it's like whenever on the news they're like, "Hey, vitamin D is good for you," and then everyone just like stocks the fuck up on vitamin D and doesn't even think about what the proper amount is.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, no, everyone's taking too much vitamin D.
So I just shouted out to Lost Coast Brewery again.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will sponsor the show with Downtown Brown.
Yeah. By the way, yeah. By the way, we're still not dead.
We're still not women, yeah.
Yeah, we're not dead yet because if anyone recalls, at the end of our Alone episode...
I'm sorry. I thought that was a little hard. I thought you were talking about the conversation from earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I apologize. That's an in-joke for another time.
Yeah. No, yeah, we're still not dead. Terrorween Spooky Days, I think they're giving us the silent treatment.
No, they'll call me up every now and again and breathe very heavily.
That's fucking bad.
Yeah. Except, for some reason, it doesn't sound like sinister breathing.
Like,
it just sounds like
tired?
Yeah, or just like, like tired and kind of overweight. like maybe Uncle Yamish is the guy with the phones. Is like the operator at Terrorween Spooky Days or something.
Hey, the operator, call back to the Marble Hornets.
Call back to Marble. This should be our clip show.
Yes. Except there's too much original content.
Yeah, this is true.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I just found this on this Twitter, and I don't know what it means, but I'm very happy it's here. It's like a weird, spooky skeleton watching Too Many Cooks.
Oh, Lord.
Too many cooks.
Yeah. There's a lot of good surrealist, insane comedy out there these days.
I do appreciate that. I don't always get into, Adult Swim is kind of a hit and miss network for me, but I do appreciate stuff like that, like Too Many Cooks, or that one that starts out, what is it, uncut footage of a bear or whatever. It's by the same guy, but it's like it starts out as nature footage, and then it breaks for commercial for like an antidepressant, except the antidepressant commercial just goes so far out of control that it's kind of upsetting and creepy, but also funny, but also unsettling. And it's like this woman has to take antidepressants because it's a commercial, but then it starts ruining her life, and it's like this apocalyptic scenario almost.
Lord.
It's very strange.
There's apparently between mortal oral. Between like moral oral, there's like a big precedent set with Adult Swim projects, especially like in the past few years, where it's like everything starts off as goofy, wacky, zany, edgy comedy, and then it like veers off into specifically something you didn't expect. Like Moral Oral went very dark and very deep and very, dramatic.
I feel like maybe...
And Too Many Cooks start like, oh, haha, it's a parody of like, cheap old, bad sitcom stuff, and then it just went far more insane than anyone could have portended.
And upsetting and
weird.
Well, and I almost wonder, especially for the series, fifth segue, probably the most sophisticated, because there are shows like Rick and Morty and even these things on Adult Swim that, like Moral Oral and stuff, that start out as, kind of fun and silly and sort of what you were expecting out of, an animated sitcom or whatever, and then halfway through or partway in start to get kind of deep and cerebral and kind of affecting and, even sometimes jarring. It's like, I wonder if that's just the end. It's like people start, or even Adventure Time kind of does that.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Adventure Time kind of reared its post-apocalyptic head.
Yeah, it's
after a while.
I wonder if they had to basically be like, no, this is a fun thing, haha, like to sell the show, and then once the show picks up, they're like, okay,
now let's spring the trap.
Yeah, we've got 6 episodes. All right, now let's start slowly creeping in some shit getting real.
Yeah,
and which other show does that a lot? Our topic tonight. Yeah. Fifth segue. I think it's a good time.
Yeah, we're talking about BoJack Horseman, the Netflix original.
Dank Ass Stubs. That's the name of this episode currently, unless we decide to change it to BoDank HorseStubs. So I don't know. Just look out for that.
Yeah.
But, BoJack Horseman. That's what
BoJack Horseman.
we're talking about.
I really love this show. We just
I do too, man.
it launched its second season, and we've binged it hard.
You binged harder than I did.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I tried. I needed a little more time to binge, but I did binge, and I
binged and I purged and I binged again.
Yeah. My
It's
whole body
horrible.
is empty.
It was a bad joke.
Well, you're just due for another purge, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it comes once a year.
Yeah, like Christmas or
Yeah.
or the purge.
Or the purge, exactly.
BoJack
BoJack
Horseman.
Horseman.
Season 2.
Season 2.
Season 2's out. Season 1. I just read an article too. One of those critics basically put this article up on like Huffington Post or something like that, or maybe it was Washington Post. I don't know. But it was basically like, "Hey, sorry for that shitty review from before because I was wrong."
Yeah.
Like
I actually got to read that because the thing is, BoJack Horseman got a very middling reception when it first launched because it's a very serialized show, and that first season basically it does so much to kind of capitalize on what's unique about the Netflix binge release format. And before we get too far, one, primer, spoilers are going to abound, and two, if you're going to sit down to watch an episode of BoJack Horseman, watch the whole season before you do any extracurricular stuff.
yeah.
Especially that first season. When Netflix when Netflix gave out the previews of that show for all the news outlets and all the media outlets to comment on and review it, they only sent out the first 6 episodes.
Oh shit! Oh no!
Yeah, and that's before the
drop.
Yeah, that's before the drop. That's before, for lack of a better word, the trap of the show was sprung.
Yeah.
It's hinted at. I mean, it's definitely teased at and it's hinted at, but that show kind of like that show sucker punches you in that first season.
Well, yeah, it's like, because there are so many shows that capitalize on that sort of like, haha, like amusing, charming misanthrope, like, this guy's kind of fucked up, but, like, he's alright. But it takes that idea and then puts it under a microscope.
Puts it under a microscope and kind of turns it on its ear, and, if BoJack Horseman was on Comedy Central or Adult Swim, it would probably be unbearable. Because it's like, if it was a show like that on your Comedy Central, usually at Comedy Central, it's like, hey, yeah, this misanthropic, like, shuckstery main character who's a bastard to everyone and just doesn't give a shit. Haha, look at him, he's so wacky and zany, he says all the rude stuff that, you're not allowed to say. And that appeals to a certain subset of human beings that I never want to meet in my life. But then the show actually goes back and says, no, yeah, this is an extremely broken human being. Yeah, he's a horse, but he's an extremely broken human being who is going to die alone and miserable and unloved if he does not fix his shit.
Yeah, exactly. It takes the kind of character we've seen so many a time and actually, forces him to own up to his shit.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, I mean, there is a certain, because it is edgy, but I get what you mean. It's like,
it's an earned edginess.
Well, yeah, and it's like, I don't know, Adult Swim and Comedy Central, they have different brands of edgy. Because if this was on Comedy Central, I feel like there would be like a lot more sex jokes.
Yeah.
And if this was on Adult Swim, I feel like there would be a lot more. Adult Swim's edginess has sort of like a shrewdness about it, it's a little aggressive in its edginess sometimes. And this has a nice sort of middle ground of things.
Yeah, and I realized, like, looking back on it, there's just so many, and, like, the animation team on this show is, like, really phenomenal. They, like, it's very limited kind of animation. It's, like, flash puppeted, but, like, the team who's designing the backgrounds and designing props and everything, they cram so much hilarious, like, gag stuff just into the background. And the writers even, they will cram so much just silly-ass wordplay. They'll just, like, have a moment where there's a line where it's, like, almost to kind of, like, self-parody. Someone will just, like, say a line that fits within the scene, but it's worded specifically in a way to capitalize on just, like, and just kind of make this weird Dr. Seuss passage. Like,
the whole Hippopopolis
episode. Yeah, the whole Hippopopolis episode. Like,
with the...
Like, so there's a scene where, like, this is a line taken out of context. Someone is trying to pitch an article about a celebrity, to give an expose on a celebrity named Hank Hippopopolis. He's a hippopotamus. The show, of course, half the characters, or more than half the characters, are anthropomorphic animal people. And so someone's trying to pitch to a magazine, hey, I want to do an expose on Hank Hippopopolis. And the editor-in-chief of the magazine says, I'm going to try not to, like, trip over this, but it's like, I'd love to take down Hippopopolis and topple the Acropolis of monstrous hypocrisy that ensconces us. It's like, the line is perfectly delivered, like, it's completely straight, but you have to do a double take because I cannot believe someone just, like, belted out a Dr. Seuss rhyme in the middle of this conversation.
Yeah, it's like several times throughout that episode, just anytime somebody says Hank Hippopopolis, it's immediately followed by a very tight rhyme pattern that rhymes with hippopopolis.
It's like someone who's defending Hank Hippopopolis on the news is introed by the anchor as joining us now is Hippopopolis apologist and armchair sociologist.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's their chyron or their call-in.
Well, that's an approach to writing. Just from like a technical standpoint, it's like I always enjoy that when it's not just like witty dialogue. It's also people having fun with the syntax and having fun with.
And luckily, it's never obnoxious because you can never really see them coming.
Yeah,
and they're very in and out very fast, and they're not overplayed. They do catch you off guard, so it's like the joke is earned. It never gets obnoxious.
Well, and like I've noticed too, like especially in the second season, there are moments where even in the middle of comedic scene, like without changing the tone, characters will just respond with like a very succinct psychological breakdown of something.
Yeah, and
then just leave the room. It's like they'll be having an argument over something in a light way. And then someone will just hit the nail right on the head. And I can't think of a great example, but it's like, they'll be arguing about something shitty Bojack did, and he'll just be like, well, because, my mother never loved me, blah, 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 it's because of that. And the scene will just continue, and it's like, and you've just completely summed up, you've demystified character in just these little lines here.
You cracked open that can.
Yeah, and it does that to like every character.
Yeah.
At some point, or all the
like Princess Carolyn, the Amy Sedaris character, who's she's an agent who does not get any recognition or real validation, and there's a point where she's trying to pull somebody out of their own rut, and they're saying, "Why are you helping me?" And Princess Carolyn, Amy Sedaris, just says, because my life is a mess right now, and I compulsively take care of other people when I don't know how to take care of myself. And then the person she's trying to pull out of the rut is just like, oh, I thought you were going to say because I believe in you. And then Amy Sedaris says, no, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's... I just love those little flourishes there.
Yeah, the second season...
It's like it's replacing what would have been a witty quip that alludes to that with just... the nail on the head.
And I like the second season because you do feel a progression from the first season. The first season, like I said, it's a slow burn up to the 11th episode of 12 in that first season until, like, the hammer gets dropped and, the main character is just sort of forced to recognize. And it's been building up, and this tension has been building up, and it's become more and more apparent. And then finally, episode 11 is, Bojack goes on a drug trip where he realizes he's a horrible, dissatisfied person and all that he's missed out on. And then it's like, episode 11 ends with him asking, am I a good person? Is it too late for me? And not getting an answer.
Oh, because you don't get one.
You don't get one.
Well, and cresting into season 2 and stuff like that, it seems like I don't know whether this was the plan all along or just because we're acclimated to it now, but it's like it seems to balance out, you know, the whimsical antics with, breakthrough moments for characters, especially for Bojack, because, there are a number of episodes where scenes very realistically will turn from amusing to serious and real.
Yeah. Like season 2 is, okay, the trap is sprung, and now it's not so much like when there is a bomb that goes off in season 11, and that bomb is episode 11 of season 2. So it's like so far, both seasons, the 11th episode of 12 always has a bomb go off. The bomb going off in the 11th episode of season 1 is a realization. The bomb going off in episode 11 of season 2 is something physical and real actually getting destroyed. It is a relationship that goes nuclear DEFCON 1.
Oh man.
Like, get into the bunker. This is not going to leave much like standing in its wake.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at that one moment where she says, you know, and if you try to contact me or my family again, I will fucking kill you. Was that their one fuck for the season?
That was their one fuck for season 2.
Because that caught me way off guard. Like
they drop in. It's like so far there are interesting patterns that are getting set. One. First pattern is episode 11 of every season is going to wreck your shit, and whenever a character says, like, drops an F-bomb, whenever a character says fuck, it is because Bojack's relationship with him is nuked and is not going to recover.
Not coming back.
Yeah.
Oh man, and that episode, man, like,
it's called Escape from LA. That episode.
Just pathos, like that, especially when you get to the second half of that episode, you keep hoping, or at least I kept hoping. It's like, you know, I'm still breaking out of you know, the conventions of, you know, like an animated sitcom. So I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be okay. Like, it's not gonna be what we expect.
It's not. It's not gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna be okay. But I've noticed a number of times this season where I don't think. You know, I'll be like, it's not going to be what I expected it to be, and then the show goes, no, it is what you expected it to be. There's no like morality parachute. These are who these characters are, you know.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You know, I was reading. Apparently, a lot of thought went into just like the very intricate decisions of who was in what position in this. In the situation that kind of set the bomb off in S2 Ep 11, because you know the whole point of apparently there was so the creator of the show is a guy named Raphael Bob Waksberg, who I saw and was terrified to actually say anything to in public one time, just because.
You just saw him out and about, or was it at like a place?
There was
Was it
there's an
HorseCon?
Yeah, it was HorseCon. No, there's an event in the LA area called Picture This, where they team up animators and artists with stand-ups, and they did one that was Bojack themed, where they had, you know, writers and well, not writers, it was more like comics who were also voice actors on Bojack, teaming up with.
They get a whole lot of people.
Oh yeah,
like
they were teaming up with. Animators and designers and storyboard artists from the show, and they were doing, like, you know, stand-up sets where the...
Wait. Was character actress Margot Martindale there?
No. I don't think she does stand-up.
Yeah, I don't think
so.
I love character actress Margot.
So there was this...
That tickles me so hard.
Yes.
Anyhow.
So there was this... there's this event. They, you know, people from the show do their stand-up bits. You know, artists from the show draw what the comics are talking about as they're in the middle of their set. And I saw in the crowd, I'm like, oh my god, there's the creator and showrunner, Raphael Bob Waksberg, of a sketch group called Old English, if anyone recalls that from the early days of the internet comedy scene. And I was terrified to talk to him because I was afraid that he was going to stare deeply into my soul and see all of my, like, lingering, decrepit, fermented darkness and garbage in who I am as a human being.
It's not that much. I mean, you're one of the better people I know.
Yeah, but I mean...
I would be more terrified than you should be.
I mean, if there's somebody who's going to sniff it out, I believe it is this guy, because Lord knows he is perceptive enough to just fill his goddamn horse cartoon with it.
Hey, man, I mean, you know, maybe you should get your own animated series.
And then
solve your life's problems.
That sounds like a great, horrible idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, it would hurt a lot, but
so,
it would be wicked cool.
So, where was my tangent going? So, Raphael Bob Waksberg is the creator of the show, and...
You were afraid to talk to him.
Yeah.
For fear of having him dissect your soul in great detail.
Rolling back. So he's pitching the show to Tornante, the company that produces
Tornante.
which is owned by former Disney Big Zone man Michael Eisner.
Big wigs. There was this silly as fuck sketch I saw. It was one of those SNL sketches that they put like at the end of the show that's like so fucking silly, but for some reason it's very funny. And it was literally a sketch, I think, called Big Wigs, which was about corporate bigwigs, but who had this giant hair.
Fucking
so like, and it was like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler just with like ridiculously enormous hair, and it just kept growing. And they were corporate bigwigs, and they kept like using the phrase bigwigs for whatever reason. I'll dig it up someday.
But then did the suits show up?
I think they did. Is
the
thing.
Suits showed up too.
Did show up.
Oh my god! And then the sharks.
I don't know if it went that far. That's
okay.
for the second. It's the sequel. We gotta.
So,
What? You? I like your shirt. Come in.
Erica's in the booth.
Erica's in the booth.
I am?
It's a big
Erica's
old
in the booth.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
First time you're going to hear Erica's voice on film.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
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 This is an emergency. Erica won a console.
This was not planned.
This was not planned. Nothing is planned on this show.
I just was passing by, and then I thought to myself, I was in the season finale.
Yeah,
Dude, oh shit, that's right. You were on the cult-ass improv team. What were you, level 6?
I was a level 6.
Erica won a contest
I was higher than Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Todd's on it.
Erica won a contest to get, like, drawn in as a background character in the season finale.
Woo. No, it was cool. Happy to do it. Like, I love making art for this show. It's, My
dude, your piece was great too. Did you have to submit a piece? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, and but I had already done that one, because of the love in my heart for the show.
Yeah.
For this sad horse cartoon.
It inspires. Yeah, the sad horse cartoon inspires me to indulge in the guilty pleasure of the occasional fan art.
It's rich and resonant,
Yeah.
as they say. Did you submitted the Bojack at the bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the dream sequence. It's based on episode 11 of season 1, which is the nutcracker of that season.
And episode 11 of this season.
Oh
yeah,
which was
I watched that this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Did you want to go back to bed?
Yes. Yes, I did.
And not crawl out.
I wanted to curl up and hurt forever. and then not give a fuck about anything and cruise home on a time-lapse boat.
On a boat on a truck.
On a boat on a truck. Just in the wreckage of the most important things in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's... I mean, the show actually kind of knocks it out of the park with these really cool kind of like visual metaphors. The fact that Bojack's escape from LA is this big, ridiculous, stupid yacht that's being towed around across the Mojave on a 18-wheeler.
No.
So there's this kind of image of like, there's this moment where you see Bojack riding on the top of his boat, wind in his mane, looking like, he's so majestic and he's just going to fuck off to wherever. But no, he's actually just, he's
reclining on the deck of a boat that's being hauled by a giant truck.
To go back to LA. More or less like, there's nowhere left to be. There's no escape. Wherever Bojack is, he's going to have to deal with him being there. So may as well be his horrible self in LA.
Yeah.
But no, so rolling back, so there's this interview where Mr. Bob Waksberg is recounting his pitch session to Michael Eisner. And Eisner's saying, "Oh yeah, it's interesting that you have this main character who, he comes up to that line of likability, but it's like he's right up against that line of likability." And Raphael's like, "No, he crosses the line of likability. He becomes unlikable, and then he crosses back over it."
Oh yeah, I mean that's sort of I feel like the bread and butter of that character.
Yeah,
is the fact that because that's a realistic struggle. I mean, I guess not everybody in the world, fluxes from likable to unlikable, but human beings do ebb and flow on that scale.
He lapses, and then he kind of has to like rebuild a sense of his decency after that.
The shows aren't very similar, but it's part of what I've always appreciated, or what I have appreciated in my experiences watching Mad Men.
There was a piece I read where someone says, "Hey, if you're really jonesing for something to replace the whole Left by Mad Men being over, might I recommend this horse cartoon?"
Yeah, kind of, because like that's like what they do with BoJack is kind of like what they do with Dawn in a sense, because they.
And I feel like it's similar in that you get so much backstory on who this person has been, used to be.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's like you need to see every dimension of this person, how they got to being so in such disrepair.
Complete with, like, pertinent occasional, youth views, like flashbacks to the youth,
Yeah.
Except, Brandon's not in the BoJack version.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Brandon, who plays Young Don.
Young Don, with his...
He's going to drop a mixtape soon.
Creepy bow cut.
Yeah.
Young Don.
Shouts out to Brandon. How is he?
He seems good. Every time I've seen him, he seems like a good dude.
We were in the same improv troupe as Youngins as Brandon, who plays Young Draper.
Speaking of improv,
yeah, there's a whole
subplot.
There's a subplot that opens up in like the last 3-ish episodes of the season where it's parodying Scientology very clearly, but instead of actually having the Aaron Paul character, Todd gets sucked into Scientology. He gets sucked into an improv class.
Yeah, and I love that
it's right next to Scientology.
It's right next door.
It's right next door to a Scientology center, which I feel is like kind of. It's interesting because like UCB, one of the name improv theaters, is right across the street from the Celebrity Center.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like the Church of Scientology owns so many fucking buildings in LA. There's bound to be an improv theater by one of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, they own half of downtown.
Yeah.
And I mean, Comedy Sports used to be in that building where UCB is now.
Yeah. And Second City used to be in the Improv, was it?
Oh, did it? I didn't know they moved.
Yeah.
Apparently
where Second City is now is not where they were always.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nomadic comedians.
Yes.
Roaming the land for a place to spill their funny.
Hunting for caribous and yes-anding.
And, oh, man. So I just love Todd.
Todd is a great character. People, there are a lot of similarities to be made to Jesse Pinkman just by virtue of him being kind of like a slackerly sort of burnout stoner character, but Todd is very different from Jesse. He's so happy-go-lucky, and he's so just kind of easygoing. He's kind of a screw-up, and he's desperate not desperate, but he wants a sense of purpose, and he's very much a lost kid, even though he's 24. but he's very,
still a kid.
Yeah, but he's just got this affableness and this happiness, and
he's so good-natured.
Yeah, he's just ridiculously good-natured. Like, no matter what, like, Todd is BoJack's only real friend who still, like, somehow sees the good in him. Well,
yeah, it's like, if there's anything you can count on...
He's his Sancho Panza.
he's just, like, he's the only, like... I feel like as close as any character gets to being completely, reliably good-natured. It's like, Todd needs to figure his life out and do something with himself, but he's the most benevolent character.
Yeah, Todd screws up consistently, but he never hurts anybody intentionally or accidentally.
Except when he gets that pen.
Oh yeah, that pen. Yeah, that's right, the whole pen thing.
The whole pen thing.
Oh my god.
Which was like, I was trying to figure out, because, you start to pick up on, okay, they're not always going to do what I think they're going to do, so like, this isn't going to become one of those things where they're both just trying to get the pen so hard, and then neither of them gets it because they're both being petty. It's like, the logical conclusion happens, she gets that pen, but the way Todd weasels it, I was not expecting either.
Yeah, and then there was the How I Met Your Mother, like, fake out.
Yes.
Okay, so this takes some talking back. There's an episode where Princess Carolyn, the agent, finds J.D. Salinger. After he has faked his death, who's voiced by Alan Arkin brilliantly.
Yes.
And she gets J.D. Salinger to come to Hollywood by pitching to him, listen, it's time for you to come back. And I know a place where people hate reading so much, they will hire other people to read for them. and not pay them a living wage, and all those people doing the reading, all they want to do is write things that one day other people will never read.
Ugh.
Like making fun of the whole, like, the industry of readers doing coverage in Hollywood. And J.D. Salinger is so gaga, or he's so excited to finally go someplace where people will not hound him about Catcher in the Rye ever again. He goes to Hollywood. He sits down with a network exec played by Lisa Kudrow, who's currently dating Bojack at this point in the series.
Yeah.
And he pitches his show idea.
Celebrities.
Hollywood stars. Okay, so the D from the Hollywood sign gets stolen in the first season, never replaced. So Hollywood is renamed Hollywood for the rest of the show.
Well, and for this version of Hollywood, and probably the real one too, Hollywood is apropos.
Because it's like a version of Hollywood that's a little exaggerated, a little more ridiculous.
I'm a Ryan Seacrest type.
Yes.
And I'm, I don't know,
some
an actress
lady
or something?
Yeah.
Some lady is out today.
Yeah. Some lady got kidnapped. That's an Access Hollywood type show. So, J.D. Salinger pitches a celebrity game show called Hollywood Stars and Celebrities. What do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out.
Let's find out.
And the way in which Alan Arkin delivers that title is so incredible. And they stick with it. Multiple episodes reference the show. Like
by complete name.
Yeah,
they want you to know that name.
Yeah, there is an episode that takes place during a taping of the first episode of that show.
And I was not expecting the Daniel Radcliffe bit.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe is the surprise contestant.
Which is awesome.
Voiced by Daniel Radcliffe.
And I love
some great voice talent.
Oh yeah, and I love their animation of his face. Just the weird, like, angular face they give him.
I think now I happened to see like an early design of Todd at one point. Hush hush, I won't tell you how. But I feel like Daniel
Radcliffe kidnap Raphael Bob Watkins.
I would never do that. I would never know how. I would because I would probably kidnap him, and then he would be in my kidnap room.
Is he in the cooler that we're currently recording on top of?
I doubt it.
Okay.
Like Raphael Bob Waksberg would be in my kidnap room, and then he would tell me everything wrong with who I am as a human being that made me want to kidnap him, and I would just kind of crumple into tears.
Yeah.
No, so I feel like the Daniel Radcliffe design has like some similarities to an early design of Todd, because apparently it took a while for Todd's design to get nailed down.
I love Todd's design.
Todd's design is great. He has that like one like little kind of Preston cheek.
I know, he's got a little Preston cheek and like the kind of fangle teeth.
Yeah, he looks a little bit just kind of unsure about everything. Where was I going? Okay, so J.D. Salinger is now the showrunner for this game show, and Todd ends up hanging out in the control booth and fighting with this like hotshot up-and-coming like assistant on the show for J.D. Salinger's pen. It's like whoever just like distinguishes themselves during the production of this first episode wins J.D. Salinger's pen, which he used not to write Catcher in the Rye, but like Raise High the Roof Beats Carpenter.
Oh my.
And it's like Todd weasels his way into getting that pen after he screws up a bunch, and it very clearly ends up going to the hotshot assistant who is way more qualified.
But through his Todd foolery.
Yeah, Todd goes on and looks like really morose, and the hotshot assistant ends up giving the pen to Todd, saying, "Maybe all you need is someone to believe in you." And that was Todd's like gambit play. He was faking being morose, so he would win the pen and shove it in her face. And it's great, and I chuckled.
I did too. I was not expecting it to go down quite that way.
Yeah.
Well, he has that whole episode with the chicken, too.
Yeah, there's the whole...
With Ron Funches. And Ron Funches is a couple people. Ron Funches is... I think he's the... what's the other chicken chain called?
Gentle Farms. He's the Gentle Farms farmer.
He's either the Gentle Farms farmer or maybe he's the Gentle Farms farmer and the voiceover for the...
the Chicken for Days ad?
Chicken for Days, yeah. He's a few characters. And then there's the... Meow Meow
Fuzzy Faces that's actually Cedric Yarborough from Reno 911.
From Reno 911, yeah.
Which he does not sound like his Reno 911 character, even though they're both cops.
Oh no, and the way I didn't even realize it at first, but I love the way they keep doing the whole, like, you know, kind of handheld, like, zoomy look in that episode every time they cut to the cops when they're just trying to figure out if he's a loose cannon.
Yeah, which like, old-timey cop action movie lingo defines him.
Oh, God. But yeah, it's that episode.
The Chicken for Days ad is... The Chicken's episode of this season kind of exists just to explain how meat works in this universe where animals are people.
So, like,
and it's actually terrifying and dystopian.
Yeah, it's like the chickens that are used for, you know, poultry meat are genetically engineered to be, you know, mentally stunted and
like hormone-addled, brain-dead prisoners.
Yeah. And just because Todd doesn't know what to do,
he ends up harboring a fugitive poultry chicken.
Yeah.
Voiced by the lead designer of the show, Lisa Hannawalt. And
they really get a lot of that chicken speak.
Yeah.
Bookbeck.
Yeah. No, Lisa Hannawalt, I was like amazed to find out Lisa Hannawalt was the voice of the fugitive chicken who ends up getting named Becca. Because she does the buck very fucking well and very committed.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I'm always excited when people will put, you know, a good deal, you know, like an appropriate amount of effort into just making chicken sounds. You know?
But I can't help but be like so amazed at anyone that can really sell a Donald Duck impression. Those people are like superheroes to me. It's like that's a power I wish I had.
But I really, that's a great episode, at least to me as far as Todd is concerned, because that is kind of the Todd episode.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
There's a Todd episode. There's a Diane episode. There's kind of a Princess Carolyn episode. There was a Princess Carolyn episode last season.
There's a Princess Carolyn. There's a prominent storyline that pops up on a couple with her.
Yeah, and there's a good strong Mr. Peanut Butter through line throughout the series.
Yeah.
Throughout the season.
Paul F.
Tompkins. He's a cool chap. He's
got a mustache.
He does, and nice suits.
He does have hella suits.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Todd episode, the chickens one, and I just so appreciate that moment in the barn where they're being like shot at.
Yeah.
And he just kind of sums up what it feels like to be
in your 20s.
In your 20s, yeah.
It's like, what does he say? I don't know why I keep getting into my situations, into these messes. I feel like my life is just a series of loosely connected, wacky misadventures.
And just, you know, like, being a 20-something, that's kind of how I feel, generally, about life.
Likewise. Although, I don't think either of us have ever made our own Disneyland somehow.
And I so loved that, I can't remember exactly what the situation is, but somebody is showing pictures in, like, an unrelated, maybe it's in the 11th episode? He's looking at pictures, and one of them is of
them at Todd's Disneyland. Yeah, that was the 11th episode.
Yeah, just as it's quick, but
this season is it's almost like this season is so much more confident than the first season, naturally, because the first season just kind of had to set up what the show is about and a specific direction of where it's headed. And this season built up on that. It's like, it's weirder, it's funnier, it's more specifically, directly funnier. When things get dark, they get really dark. When things get bad and downcast, they go all out.
Well, yeah, it seems like they're really free to. It's like if you look at the first season, it almost feels like it feels natural because you have the first half where it's, you know, the status quo of Bojack's life and all the other characters around him, and then, you know, the season ends with him making a big realization.
Yeah, the season ends with his status quo has been rocked slowly but surely, but it's been broken down to that point where it's like, okay, something has got to fucking give now.
And then season 2, it's like we pick up and it's like, okay, now we know that this guy is at least trying to address his problems and work on himself somewhat, you know, and that becomes a prominent, like, this is, you know, as it is season 2 of the show, it's also kind of a new phase in that character's life, you know, in Bojack's life. So, you know, those poignant moments and the scenes where they actually do call out some real relationship dynamics and some real poison just poisonous behaviors and stuff like that. Those come more, not frequently, but they're kind of interspersed throughout. You know, there are poignant moments throughout.
You can see their evolution way more specifically and kind of chart them and see that things are building up and moving along.
Mm-hmm.